Hey everyone, I'm Erin and welcome to the Cardboard Republic. This is our to be played for January. So first, we're gonna go over what we played in December and then talk about what we're hoping to get to the table in January. Let's get started. First up is our indie spotlight game for December. This was Bargain Quest. It's a really cute game about selling items to adventurers from your item shop. The catch is that you have to choose an item to draw the adventurers in off the street. A nice display piece to go in your window, but you cannot sell that display piece. So it's clever in that you need to balance what you use to bring people in off the street with what you actually have in your hand to sell them. We did play this one. It was really fun. We played it a couple times, actually. It's not super long, and it was engaging. Pulsar 2849 is a space game. You are moving through space and opening these portals at different portal locations. It's kind of clever in the way that it handles movement, and I really liked that aspect of it. There's also a lot of tech tree stuff going on, a lot of different upgrades that you can get. This one was really, really fun, and we did play it. Harvest Dice is next, and this is a tiny, tiny, tiny little roll and write game about planting different crops in your garden. What's kind of neat is that when you roll the dice and you take the die to plant the carrot, say, in your little plot, you actually have to draw the carrot in. I mean, you don't like have to, but it tells you to in the rules, and I definitely enforce that in my house. So we did play this. It was really fun. I'm enjoying roll and write games a lot more than I thought I would, at least the ones that I've played so far. There's something just, I don't know, entertaining, and I hate to repeat myself, but there's something just fun about rolling a bunch of dice and then writing things down and then moving on. They're usually pretty quick, they move along pretty quickly, the stakes are relatively low, and they're a nice interlude in between some of these bigger, heavier games. Samurai Garden. So I didn't play this one. I was in the other room while Ryan was playing this one with some friends. It is a dexterity game of Honshu. Essentially, you're picking up these cards, but in order to do that, you need to like slap the table first. I don't really know, because all I heard was a bunch of yelling, and not happy yelling. Like either, ow, that really, really hurt, or, oh no, you're gonna break the table, or just yelling at each other because someone accidentally hit someone else. I'm gonna say this is not a game that is staying in our collection very long. Neither one of us really loves dexterity games to begin with, and then if it's a dexterity game that's going to be painful, like if I wanted to do something painful, I'd go to the gym. I don't need to like play board games and get hurt. Not doing that. The Arkham Horror Living Card Game, the LCG, is a card game based in the Arkham Horror universe, so the Cthulhu mythos. It's based in that, and it is very story-driven. We did play this. We played a couple different games of it. I love Arkham Horror so much, and people have told me all good things about the LCG. So far, I have to admit, it's not really hitting that same nerve for me. I'm not loving it. I miss rolling that big handful of dice and having something completely chaotic and random happen. I know that that's like what most people look at in Arkham and they're like, oh, that's the worst part of the game. But for me, that's like the best part of the game. And the Arkham LCG is arguably better designed in that it is a much smoother game experience. It is balanced. You don't just sit there for 4 hours with maybe nothing happening. But I kind of like the risk of Arkham. Who knows how your night's gonna go? Maybe you'll live and defeat Cthulhu. Maybe you'll die after round 2 and go get pizza. Like, I really love that unpredictability that Arkham brings to the table. And so far, I haven't really gotten that with the LCG. But that said, we've only played a couple of different games of it. It is scenario driven. We've only made it maybe a couple games into the first scenario. I'm definitely going to keep playing the first scenario, maybe even the first two before I make a real decision, because it can be hard to judge a game based on essentially the campaign it puts out to get you into the game. Although maybe you should judge it most on that campaign. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I'm going to keep playing it for a little while. I'm going to keep trying to like it. And I think ultimately what I need to do is go into it appreciating it as its own game rather than looking at it as a replacement for Arkham Horror. Exile Sun was our card pull game. So that's the game we pull the card out of the deck, we try to play it within the month, and get a review out either on the podcast or in written form shortly thereafter. With December, when we were picking the games that we were going to play in December, we went into it very consciously knowing that for us, December is a very busy month. There's not a lot of time for gaming, and the time that we do have for gaming tends to be in short bursts. So a lot of those games that we just talked about, either Ryan and I could play them together after dinner, or we could play them at a very short game night. Exile Sun, the one we randomly picked, was like the exact opposite of that. It is really long. It's pretty involved. It is a game we had no time for in December, and I think we kind of knew that going in. We tried, but it wasn't gonna happen. We didn't play it. I hope to still play it soon. December was not a month that was gonna let us play a big game. Overall, that's 5 out of 6 of our games that we played though, which is really, really good, especially for us. That's amazing. And in December, a month where we don't generally get a lot of gaming in, I'm very proud of us. I'm very happy that we went with our chosen strategy of only picking light games that we could definitely get to the table. So that said, let's move on to January. January in New England is really, really cold generally, and people don't go outside much. On the one hand, this can make game days easier because your alternative for doing things is skiing, I guess. But like I said, I don't do like activities. So gaming, and I don't know what else I would be doing, making bread. I've made a lot of bread. Anyway, so in January, game days can happen more frequently, but Mother Nature can also throw a wrench in it with a blizzard. We've already had a blizzard in January. We could have another one anytime now. They strike out of nowhere, it seems. I don't watch the weather. And so we just never really know. We went into January picking some heavier games, some lighter games, and we're going to do our best. Let's look at what we're going to play. Our indie spotlight game for January is Triplock. This is a game set at this like underground crime convention, and you are competing against one other player or against the game to unlock the lock thing as fast as you possibly can. The board for this looks really cool. It plays obviously super fast because it's supposed to, like 15 minutes, and I hope that it makes me feel like I'm robbing a bank. Anyway, that's our indie game of the month. We are definitely going to play it. Next up is Charterstone. Charterstone is the big Stonemaier legacy game. So Stonemaier, they're the people who put out Scythe and Viticulture. They're known for putting out really high quality games, even if not everyone loves the gameplay of them. So Charterstone is all of that, but it's legacy style. So as you go through the different games, scenario to scenario, the things that you change in the game stay changed for forever. People are very, very mixed on legacy style games. I know some people don't like them because it does kind of, or it can, limit the shelf life of the game, in that once you play through the whole campaign, you can't always go back and keep playing it. Charterstone says that you can, that once you play through the whole legacy style campaign, you have a full game that you can play again in whatever state you left it in. I don't know if that's true or not. We are going to play probably a fair amount of Charterstone because we do want to get a review out for this pretty soon. And in order to do that, you need to play a lot of Charterstone. So I am excited. I generally like Stonemaier Games stuff, and the art looks really cute. Pie Town is next. Pie Town is a dice placement game about harvesting dice, fruit dice, and making them into pies and then selling those pies. It's not as light as it looks, but it's still not as heavy as a bunch of other games that we've gotten in recently. Also, it's about pie, so I don't care how heavy or light it is. I'm excited for it because pie is like one of my favorite foods. If I get really ambitious, I might make pie and then we can play Pie Town while eating pie. I probably won't be that ambitious, but maybe I'll go buy pie and then we can still eat pie while playing Pie Town. Yes, Pie Town. Peak Oil is a game about oil drilling, but it's a little bit subversive in the way that it does it. So it reminds me actually a lot of some video games that have come out recently that have aimed to highlight some of the environmental impacts of certain negative policies by letting you actually play as the person engaging in those. I don't know how far down that line Peak Oil goes. It is still a relatively serious game, but it does look fun. It does look interesting, and I'm curious to see how much of a message it really has when you're sitting down and playing it. Days of Ire is a replay, technically, because we did play it before, but this is the first time we've actually played our copy. This game was our Indie Spotlight game for December of 2016. I know. It had some delays, and it never ended up making it into the US until relatively recently. So we did get it in, and we had played it before then, but we hadn't played like this, our own copy. And we like to have copies, like actual copies that we can put on our shelves and pull out and bring with us to conventions of all of our Indie Spotlight games. So we finally do, and this is going to be our replay game because it's been a while. And I haven't actually played it before. Ryan did, but it still counts as a replay because one of us played it. Anyway, it's an asymmetrical game. One player plays as the Soviets, essentially, and the other players are the rebels in Budapest during this 1 week uprising. You can also play cooperatively, which I might actually prefer, but it is based on a historical event. It is a very clever game, and it's very well done, and yeah, it's our replay. Okay, last but not least, we have our card pull game. I'm going to put Exile Sun back in there. We can pull it out again if we end up playing it in the meantime, but just in case. And now I'm going to shuffle them. I will pull a card off the top when I'm done shuffling, and that is a game that we will play and review in January or shortly thereafter. One sec. Cutting the deck. Okay. Roll Through the Ages, Iron Age. Roll Through the Ages, Iron Age is a roll and write dice-based civilization building game. So I love each of those concepts individually. I'm hoping that I love them all together. I'm not really sure. I've never played anything quite like that. I've heard kind of mixed things. Some people have liked it and some people have come to me and not really loved it. So I'm going into it in that way that you can be unbiased when you've heard like equal numbers of good and bad. I don't really know what's going to happen. I predict that I will like it because roll and writes are my new favorite and civ building games are my old favorite. This has everything. We know how much I love just throwing dice at things. And I think that's it. Those are all the games that we're planning on playing. Well, probably not all the games. We'll probably play some other games too. But those are the big ones that we're really, really going to try to get to the table in January. If you have some games that you're hoping to play, leave us a comment down below, or you can find us on Twitter at Cardboard News, on Instagram, on Facebook. Just look up Cardboard Republic. We're everywhere. We are also over on Patreon. So if you like the content that we're putting out here and you want to see more of it, you can head over there to support us. We also have a Slack channel going on. I love it. We have a really great community, and I would be super excited to have more of you join us. So that is it for now. We will be back again really, really soon.